what this guy is up to again.
We have arrived in the automotive market and are a sustainable company.
Come on, man.
We are shoveling in money right now like crazy, mostly thanks to the Bramble.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
We have a little bit of leeway here in the factory shifts. We are making lots of money, which is good. And in general, we are also well
look
set
at
up
this
for
guy.
the future.
Polished
So, the Bramble
floors,
is a 1960s
smiling workers, cars that start. Must be nice to live in a fantasy novel, that's what. Yeah, sure, I mean, he's got success. But tell me one thing. How does anyone make that kind of money in this business, in this economy, illegally? This guy must be cooking more than just engines in there, you know what I'm saying? What's this fairy tale nonsense? Started his company with $0? What's next? He built it in a shed with hope and elbow grease? Get real, man. You know what? We'll pay him a little visit soon. See what kind of fairy dust he's actually running on. Bramble? Leeway with factory, shoveling money, sustainable for the future? Get real, son. But before then, let's shine a little light into his perfect Polish darkness. I've got a very special news report in the works. Let's see how Mr. Clean handles a little dirt. So, this is the lineup of 1964, the golden years. So, we got a bunch of different cars. All of these are in production as of right now. The Atom is still being sold, even though it's our first car. Actually, funny story here, we named after the intern who thought airbags were over-designed. He's gone now, but the name stuck, so it's a nice memory. And yeah, this car has lots of history with us. I mean, it's the sedan component to the Widowmaker, right? So originally this car was supposed to carry the V12, hence you have the 12 exhaust pipes coming out of the hood. But the scam is it's actually just the V8, because the V12 was just not feasible. Like we made the Widowmaker, so originally we made this car, then we wanted to put the V12 in it, and then we realized this car can't handle the 200 horsepower because this is so heavy at the sedan. With the brake technology we had back then, this was just even more of the service of Widowmaker. So what did we do? We just put the same V12 engine, and instead of scrapping it, we put it into the light Widowmaker, and the rest is history. But this was the original car that actually carried the V12 for a minute until we figured out, hey, it's too big, we have to put it out. Big problem with the Atom. I mean, we're not making any sales with this thing. Why is there not any produced? Oh, there's no desirability fraud. Is at least the amount of stock going down? I mean, like, that we are so much behind. Let's see, we are 2.58 months behind. No, we cannot even produce as many as we are having. Oh, it's because we have so many pre-orders. And there's 0 produced. Ah, because we don't have the engine. Okay, take it back then. So yeah, here's a good lesson for you. Even though this platform is almost 20 years old, and this is our first car, hence the name the Atom, we are still milking all the money we can out of this car. Mostly due to our amazing ads and our good commercials that we have.
Thanks so much for the congrats, guys. I mean, it is my birthday, but after all, it was real nice gifts and everything. Thanks so much.
Hey, fellas, look, come here.
Hey, what's going on? It's my birthday.
Get a load of that dame.
Man, I better be stepping out. I gotta get me one of those cars right now. You show me the way out.
Presenting the all-new 1950s facelift Atom. The car that says, I've got power, class, and no regard for consequences. Wanna impress the boys? Win over the girls? Crush your enemies in traffic? This car does it all. Now with even more horsepower than you can realistically control, and just enough brakes to keep things spicy. Safe, stylish, reliable. Software is not liable for injuries, deaths, explosions, or unexplained fires. Drive responsibly, or don't. Okay, Spectacular is not being built, but we have like so many months of stock, it's fine. And we just have the Mark 6 here, so maybe we'll do the Mark 7 eventually, but for now it's okay, I guess. If we do that, we can just open a small shot for that, because there's not much sales anyways. And yeah, as you could see, the Widowmaker is also still being sold together with the M in 20 years after. It's now the Mark 5, so many facelifts that we made. The beauty of facelift is you can sell the same car to 5 different categories of people. But yeah, you can see the stats, it's 200 horsepower, it's still one of our most powerful cars, to be honest. It's very strong, it doesn't hit rules, and it's the car that just lets you spin out. If you drive it, you better know what you're doing, because you can't control this girl. I mean, this thing takes off, and it just goes, and one little twitch to the steering wheel, and this thing spins out. But yeah, it's our heritage. This is the car that makes men out of boys, and that's why people want to buy it. That's why we have high prestige, because we have this mystique about cars that either kill you or make you. So this is being built now. This is just built and still not selling, which is something I don't understand. Desirability is already in the gutter again. Like when I built this, there was very high desirability. The second this is finally released to the public, no desirability anymore. It's just so annoying. Like, what am I gonna do? We won the Fronin Grand Prix. We thought to ourselves, hey, it would be good to have actually a car that has less power, which is way lighter, and maybe also has a rear-mounted engine. So because that was one of the things that our competitor used there, and it was very successful in the Grand Prix. So we used this, and this was the car that actually made the first record on the track. So a very successful car for us, and we further used this 2.0-liter boxer engine. Let me just go over here in the Lagune, right, in the Shark. So this one shares the 2.0-liter engine, but instead of in the rear, it's in the front, because this is just a cruiser, this is just a convertible, this wasn't supposed to be a very high sporty car. We then later made a prototype of this, and we actually put the V12 of the Widowmaker in, right? It was then, I think, a 150 horsepower version, which was a bit less than 200 original horsepower version, because we had to finally go in line with the emission levels, so it was less horsepower because of this. And this is also the one. And from this prototype, which only a few models were built with the V12, because most of them had the 2-liter boxer engine, which we originally just built to fit into the small cars for better handling, and also to have a small engine that could be better used in maybe like more family and city-oriented cars and niches and market niches, so that you could work more easy on the engine. But from this prototype here with the V12, the Malibu was then conceived, which is based. At least Lagune is making some sales, even though also desirability is already in the gutter, and the GPs is still a bit okay, I guess. The prototype, funnily enough, making the most sales. So the prototype, that's the version we just talked about. That's the Lagune versus the V12. That was just an idea, just a prototype to see how it goes. And that's the car who makes 10 sales per month, where the other version only sell 5 or 2 of them per month. So this proves our point of making the Malibu. That proves our point. People want power, not safety, right? And that's why we built the Malibu. But we're gonna come to that later. Right now we have lots of emission costs. For some reason from the Joker, who's another car we should have a proper look at. So this was the car that was supposed to go to the family market. It's much smaller than the Burg, 5 doors, but still aluminum panels with this E-space frame. So it's 4 gears, solid axle coil actually, in the front and in the rear. So unlike most of these cars that have double wishbone, this actually has the solid axle. It was supposed to be a more cheaper car, and it also uses the Ep.8 like most other cars, right? So weighs around 1,100 kilo, I think. So it's quite light, but nothing special for the time. It was basically just our first attempt at a super cheap car. It didn't receive much love, but it made us a lot of money actually. Not as much as we hoped, but it made a good amount. So yeah, the Berg. Of course, the car that we used to blackmail some of our customers, some of the pimps. Yeah, that's about the lineup, right, that we have right now. So yeah, we do sell some of the Joker units here. As you can see, like around 150 units per month. Currently the Sport convertible version sells a lot, just 80 units of them this month. So it is a big money maker, but at the same time it's also a car where we overproduce a lot of them. So yeah, it's a little bit of a trick to figure the whole matching with the factory size. It's something to do. We gotta do a new facelift. I mean, it's just nonsensical here. I don't know why it doesn't sell like this. Disability is completely in the gutter. I just made the facelift. It's what's last year, 62 was a fucking facelift. And it's already shit. Then it takes a year and a half to make, and then when it's done and released, it's already not disabled anymore. Oh man. Yeah, that's the problem. You make the car, it sells you, hey, disabled, these high people wanna buy this. But it takes 1.5 years until the car's out. Then when the car's out, look at this nonsense. The whole lineup is yellow and orange, like no one wants to buy this anymore. This is just indicating that no one wants to buy this. And no one's buying this right now. So we just made it, spent all this money for the facelift, and now we just gotta do this all over again, which is getting quite annoying. So you can see here, it's a small box. We just talked about the tool and the boxer engine. We don't really like it, that's we just call it box. We'd rather put a V8 or V12 in there, but it does actually handle better with a small engine. It's not overpowered. And it works quite well. Yeah, so basically the Dite came as the idea of our learnings from the Phoning Grand Prix that we kind of cheated to win, but it's not important for now. It's episode 2, I mean episode 3 if you want to watch it, but the thing is, we took the Widowmaker on that race. The Widowmaker has 200 horsepower, has horrible weight distribution, all the weight is in the front, you have no traction at all. But some component in that race used a car that had the engine in the back, and that car had lots of traction. That was our main component in that race. So we took what we learned from that race and realized maybe it's better to have a race car that wins. So we have the horsepower. We put a small engine, the V12 didn't fit in this, so we made a whole new boxer engine. Even though we didn't like making an engine with less than 8 cylinders, but we did anyways. We made the Boxer, 6 cylinders, has around 80 horsepower, depending on the version. Something between 70 and 100 horsepower. And we put it in this car. And this car broke records instantly. So the engine it's a mid-engine car, lightweight, with traction. And we also put that engine in the first Lagune, right? Now we have the prototype of the Lagune with the V12, and now the Malibu is a big brother and basically successor. But the Dite is also a car that sells quite well, if it sells, on the convertible super and on the track market. So it is something that we want to get running with this facelift right now, right here. And now you also get to see why our cars are so unreliable. Why people buy a car from Talbolago, aka Widowmaker Industries. They buy the car, and before they even leave the lot, while they leave the parking lot, there's already something broken. One thing is already broken, that's for sure. Sometimes it's already broken before it's even being sold. So that's the problem that we have. I mean, we set up the reliability in these factories always extremely low to make it faster, and then only figure out later that this is something that kills the reliability in the car. You would think it's obvious, but the problem is the game doesn't tell you shit about this. The game doesn't tell you, hey, if you lower the reliability of the factory, you also lower the reliability stat in the car, because you never get to see the stat of the car anymore after this. That's kind of problematic, but you learn the hard way eventually, but by the point you learn it, it's probably already too late. So that's one of the reasons why we have to do facelifts again, because the previous car was probably set up the same way. Extremely unreliable. Yeah, you can actually see it was set up the same way because it's just 0, 0, so it means the reliability last time was already 0. Hence no one buys this now. So we're doing a facelift right now with the same problem. This car is gonna come out, it's gonna be unreliable again. Even though it's showing up green here. So you maybe be able to sell it still because you made so many improvements in regards to sportiness and whatnot. But it's still not as good as it could be. So my advice is, if you set up the car, don't go all the way down. Unless it's like a super sports car, it's like a super premium car, they don't care about it. But in 80% of the markets, you need to have some reliability in order to be able to sell the car. And what you also can do is, when you set up the reliability, you can actually go back to the screen where you designed the car, and you're going to see change stats. That was the big reveal for me. One time I accidentally went back to the screen of the car after I set up the factory, and guess what? All the stats were changed. Why? Because I lowered the reliability in the factory, and that makes it so that the car becomes trash. But we don't care about that really, do we? As long as it sells, baby. That's our motto right here. The problem here is we're producing way more than we are selling. That's the problem. Factory is too big basically for what we're producing. This thing was also such high demand when we produced it. It smokes a lot, but that doesn't mean it's gonna blow up. I mean, usually it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, this lineup right here is so questionable, it's almost illegal to park them all on the same street with all these stories that these cars here have produced. But let's start with the pretty recent car. So this one is also sharing the V8. So maybe this is something I should say in the beginning. All cars, we only have 3 engines, 3 engine types, right? We have the big V12. This is the same engine that we had in 1946. 20 years later, it's the same base. We just now 1.3 version of it, but it's basically the same base. We still have the 1946 V8. It's also the same base as the V8 was used in the Adam, the V12 on the Widowmaker, aka the Spectacular. And then recently we introduced a 2-liter boxer engine into the Dite, right, back in '62. But since the engineering took so long, now it's already like not in demand at all anymore. It's a big problem. So you still got a lot of work to do here. So yeah, we basically gotta do facelifts all over the place. We really gotta watch our finances. But as you can see on the main graph, we're actually getting up there. And keep in mind, this so-called Mr. Squeaky Clean, Mighty Motors, Dite guy, you know what he does? He makes his money, 10 million, but he only has 2 cars, man. We got a real empire here. We got a whole fleet of cars that don't have brakes, cars that are not reliable, cars that are gonna give you prestige. Because if you own one of them, you must be wealthy, because you're not gonna drive this because it's reliable, and you probably have money to fix it too. So it's a real statement. That's a real car. I don't understand all these warnings about the V12, because all the V12's cars are being built. The 150 horsepower one, let's see. I mean, apparently there's nothing built here. It's always the same with these lazy ass factory workers, never doing anything, always gotta run behind them. And then they blame me if something goes wrong, and they blame me they're overworked. Check the factory manager, it tells me it's true, nothing's being built. I don't really understand why, because this is the Mark III. Is there any newer model even available? No, like the Mark III is the latest V12. So I don't understand why it doesn't produce anything. Let's see if these lazy fools come to their senses next month. Now it's being produced. So this is being produced, this is the V12. Okay, now the thing is gone. This is just a bug, I guess. Oh, this is not good. This isn't good at all. So right now we're fulfilling this. Okay, but we have to... It's not that bad. We're gonna have to keep on increasing the safety regulations.
Reports release. 910. That's the number of quality inspections that are made during the assembly of
all our cars.
Ha, no, not at all. They released the cars anyway. They skipped the $11 per car fix because, well, nobody wanted to displease the boss.
Problem with the Malibu is we're producing it in a factory which is way too big for the production. And that's kind of the problem. So we're paying more in factory maintenance and whatnot than we make with sales, because this is just the car that's being sold here, but there's not really any point. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna start building a factory that's gonna produce the Malibu the way it is right now, because it's still pretty good. And at the same time, I'm wondering what would happen if I facelift the car, but in a different factory. Will that be still being produced here? Or will that mean that this is being stopped? That'd be very good to know. In both cases, it doesn't really matter because the car here is already so much overproduced that it doesn't really matter if this is stopped being worked. So I'm gonna open a small tiny factory, produce the Malibu with the facelift, and then utilize this factory for something else, for a new project. Only thing is, obviously, I don't even know if there's anything new that we can even add to the car, because it's already quite good. Yeah, since the car was already pretty much decked out with all the options, not quite sure if we can add anything. Just looking if we had anything new developed here and the research and development, but doesn't look like much. But I'm just gonna try to make these market demographics a bit more green, trying to make them a little more appealing to the Gran Turismo, the supermarket, by just optimizing a couple of things, and some things are just getting better by just doing them again without changing much. So yeah, I'm wondering to also put a new engine in this, because this is basically the same V12 we used in the Lagune prototype. It's derived from the Widowmaker and all that. It's a cool engine, but we're in the 60s now. The original V12 version had 200 horsepower. Now we have 150 horsepower because of the damn Furnian laws and the emission levels you have to adhere to. Meaning the engine is a bit powered down, so to say, because of the exhaust being restricted and whatnot for the emission levels. So yeah, it would be good to maybe make a new engine, maybe a high-wing V8 version or high-wing V12. Yeah, we're gonna have to look and think which base we can use for that. And yeah, I mean, the Malibu's already pretty decked out with things, because we have like sometimes luxury is like +7, and we pay like 30 grand for that to make it. But it's still okay because we have such a high markup, but it's still already pretty decked out car. So maybe having a better engine allows us not to be having to spend 30 grand on the interior, and we can maybe put in an interior that's maybe just 15 grand of costs, and we can actually put better engine. So that's kind of the idea. This was much louder, but so much nicer. I love that old engine. So in order to have it revving higher, we would probably need to reduce the capacity. That's what I'm trying to do right now. Make the car a bit more aggressive on the top end. Trying to get back to this like original 200 horsepower. Yeah, and it looks like we have to update to basically direct injected fuel system instead of the carburetor, otherwise we're not really gonna get into the high power. Now we're talking. Now we get yourself an idea right here. That's interesting. So the stats I told you last time about Ferrari, aka cisalpina, about being able to drive 270 kilometers in the 60s with this thing, we might be able to do it. But we got another problem right now. It's always fucking Frunia with them goddamn emission standards. Always on our tail, man. The problem is we are based in Frunia, so we gotta deal with this shit. And they can never leave you alone, you know? Once you make a proper nice engine that's competitive, that can put you on the map, these guys just wanna ruin the fun and say, oh, you gotta change the emission standards, emission levels, so you gotta tweak around and look at every little thing, and then you lower this level, and then this is better for the CO2, but then this other thing is that worse, and blah blah. Like, you make it louder, faster, hotter, and then apparently if your car kills birds mid-flight, it's a problem, you know what I mean? It's the 60s, man. Take a chill pill. As if this is already burning holes in the ozone layer, man. It's like, surprise, surprise. It doesn't pass emissions. Frunia strikes again. It's always Frunia, man. The other countries are chill like that, but Frunia, not a nice country to be stationed at, let me tell you. That looks acceptable for our customers. We're better than the Widowmaker. I mean, it's nice. We have 30 horsepower more than the Widowmaker. Nice V12. I think we are good. Yeah, so right now we're just setting up the new factory like we discussed, making sure the new engine is properly produced, the V12, since we're gonna be working this new 230 horsepower V12 into the other sports versions of our cars as well. And yeah, just gotta make sure we're gonna adhere with those emission levels, because especially with those high revving cars, high power cars, it's always a bit finicky. And here's the thought: we could just route the exhaust directly in the passenger's cabin. Technically zero external emissions, if you know what I mean. But maybe that's a bit too far even for us. Yeah, we could totally go into the muscle market as well. Muscle premium, technically. Or something like this. I'm gonna try to go on one of these markets. I'm also realizing that we probably should do marketing, since one of these markets sells we're like at 100% of what you can do. And that's probably because we're not spending enough money in marketing there. We now have a little bit of money that we can use for this kind of purpose. So track and super and whatnot, we're already using a lot of the potential of the market. You know, these guys might motors in them, they only have 2 cars in the whole lineup. So I'm thinking we're already 6-7 cars ahead in the lineup. Why not double down and build even more? We're spending way more now on marketing, and we can build a new car now. I really would have liked to design one of these cars. I think these are hilarious. I think these are really fun. I kinda wanna see how this would look, just to see in the designer how this would look. I just wanna have a look at it. So yeah, the whole idea is to build something that's like super fast that we can actually send into like a low more type race to do some marketing for a company. But we need something that's able to utilize this brand new V12 that we built, right? We have a V12 that's high revving now, that's very powerful, 230 horsepower, it's not bad for the 60s. And maybe we can even build on top of that, right? But yeah, this car is probably not gonna be it, because it's just too funny, it's too janky, too hilarious. But I like it, still. This thing looks so cool. This thing looks amazing, man. Like, it looks hilarious, but it looks funny and cool at the same time. But yeah, we did in fact not take that car. The problem was you couldn't put the engine in the back. And for a proper sports car where we're gonna break the cisalpina Ferrari record of doing 270 kilometers in the 60s, we gotta get something proper. Hello there. We should probably do something more than just putting a V12 on this, instead of just going aluminum space frame, re-engine and double wishbone, which is just our standard setup for everything. Should probably do fiberglass, but ain't nobody got time to engineer all this nonsense, right? We gotta make some money here. Okay, for this car we're gonna get us some inspiration from the Dite. Okay. So yeah, this car is really like basically how the Malibu is the bigger brother of the Lagune. This is gonna be the bigger brother of the Dite, right? The Dite was our car that was rear-engined. It's the only mid/rear size engine design layout that we have, and it's our best sports car. It's our best track car, but it's not very fast. There's only space for a small Boxer 6-cylinder engine. So now we're gonna put this idea of a rear / mid-engine design car into a way bigger body that's still a bit light, but most importantly something that has 4 times the horsepower, right? The original Dite has around 70 horsepower, as you've seen earlier in the episode. Small Boxer 6-cylinder that we just invented because nothing else would fit. And now we're on to bigger things, right? Maybe we can use this in the future Le Mans ways. Maybe we can win some battles and thus make a name for ourselves in the big game, where the big boys play it, right? This all started when we had the first Funion Grand Prix. It goes all the way back there. All of multiple reasons. First of all, because at that time we got the idea for a proper light sports car, and that's the first Dite was invented, because the original Widowmaker obviously was way too much power and it didn't work, and the engine was in the front. So we made a smaller engine, half the cylinders, cut it in half, and put the engine in the back, and the Dite won. It had our best track time, right? If you remember, it was the best track time. And it was so good that it then felt, hey, this could have a bigger, stronger engine, right? And we tested a little bit with the engine with Boxer and the Lagune, and then the V12 in the Lagune, and then this prototype then became the Malibu. But to combine all of these factors, having a mid-engine layout car, but at the same time a big V12, and at the same time a light chassis, this is something we've never done before. So that's kind of the idea here. So yeah, the first Dite wasn't all that fast really, but it was something a bit more safe and something more handleable. Now this is going to be the Dite 2. And this time we gave it the V12. Not just any V12, the V12, you know, the one that makes earthquakes. This is the Widowmaker V12 after all, you know what I mean? And now we increase the power. After I just lost 50 horsepower for the emission levels, we just gave it back 80, so now we're 230 horsepower. It's not that much, but this is just going to be the first kind of super sport version, kind of like the flagship of the lineup. And I think we're going to increase this even more for future endeavors, let's say, you know? We don't technically have a racing division, but if you build a car fast enough, sometimes racing finds you. Will it handle? Probably. Will it meet regulations? Not really, but hey, that's what bribes are for, you know what I mean? It's gonna be our flagship, our Halo car, the peak of our engineering, everything we've learned so far. Some mostly stuff about cutting corners, to be honest. But before we could blossom, had a seed of evil already been planted? Or should I say, a mighty seed of evil? Gary Truman, guerrilla journalist, and this is totally true news. Our independent investigation reveals the shocking truth. Mighty Motors is raking in tens of millions a month, but the company started with $0. No investors, no backers, no paper trail. Just poof, out of nowhere. But isn't that odd? Suspicious even? We don't know who funds Mighty Motors. For all we know, it could be the Lagune Mafia. Or worse, the Arhunian Old Guard. And judging by the quality of the cars they sell, we know one thing. That money sure as hell isn't going into production. That dirty Lagune money could be fooling terrorist organizations for all we know. Scary stuff. But for now, this is all confirmed.